ಆಗಿರೋದು. ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಹಿಂಗಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
Good evening, participants. Good evening, Dr. MKR, sir. We will
Good evening, sir.
start, sir. I would also welcome the speaker of the day, Dr. MKR, my dear colleague as well, for this orientation program. In this session, we have both first PUC, class 11, and even second PUC students attending. I think first PUC students and class 11 students, it's been almost 3 or 4 weeks since your classes have started. And for second PUC students, it's been almost 3 or 4 months, and we're almost through with 50% of the syllabus. Now, why this kind of a session at this stage is the question. Now, every year in the beginning, we capture the career goals of students, and it's very disheartening to see that almost all students opt for either the engineering stream or the medicine stream. And every year we see there are very few or almost no takers for pure sciences. And progress of or scientific advancement of any country depends on innovation. And in such a situation, we don't have students taking up pure sciences. But this year, I'm very happy to inform that this year the number of students interested to take up pure sciences is more. So that's what was very heartening. And I shared this with Dr. MKR, sir. Sir, this year we have a lot of students showing keen interest in pursuing pure sciences as well. And he was very happy to agree for this orientation program where he would be throwing some light on what kind of exams you need to take for getting into pure sciences and what should be the roadmap for the preparation. Because all of you right now are preparing for JEE, NEET, and CET. So how different these exams are going to be, and what are the additional support we can offer to all of you. So that is the reason why we are having this orientation program. Very happy to have Dr. MKR sir. No better person to talk on this than Dr. MKR sir because he has guided many students in various exams in the science stream. And the participants of this meeting should know that he is also the resource person for the International Olympiad. That is, he leads the Indian team. He has been doing it for several years now. And many of us do not know that India usually wins a silver medal or a gold medal. I think recently they won a gold medal also. And these things won't make it to the news. So he is part of the team. He's also in charge of IAPT. I just take 2 minutes to introduce Dr. MKR to the participants of this session today. Dr. MK Raghavendra did his PhD in nuclear physics under the guidance of an eminent scholar and an inspiring teacher, Professor C.R. Ramaswamy. He's also an alumni of the National College Baswangudi. Um, he has served as principal in many prestigious institutes. He was the principal for Diksha College for a couple of years, and he was also the first principal for Base College at Rajajnagar when it was started. And Sir has also done or has also been part of other institutes as well. Um, he was also a consultant for Dr. H.N. International Science Center, and he is presently the program manager for Axis Bank Center for Mathematics and Computation at IISc. And he is also the director of Nanadhara Center for Excellence, another institute which also trains students for competitive exams. And your academy and Nanadhara Center for Excellence are into an academic partnership as well. So, MKR sir, very happy to have you now. So, all yours, sir. You can share your screen and you can take this forward, sir. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Thank you so much, Sandeep sir, and good evening, my dear students. It's always a pleasure to talk about the science as a career option, and also try to actually give you information about the path that one has to take to get into premier institutions in science. So today's talk will be mostly on trying to look at the different options and what is that one has to do to pursue a science career. With a nice introduction by Sandeep sir, I would like to now take you through what is it that basically we are talking about. I think some 15, 20 years back, if someone asked me, sir, I want to pursue science career, what should I do? I would generally say join some engineering college, maybe something in do some engineering in electrical or mechanical. And if you still have interest in science, come back and do maybe PhD in science later on. Because there were not really good undergrad programs at all at that time. The only colleges which were serving used to be this National College, Vijaya College, MES College, and so on and so forth, where the students would not really aspire to get into research at all. So a bright kid would really waste his time doing a BSc program at that time. But things have changed a lot, my dear students, over the last 15, 20 years. Because of some visionary scientists and also people who are working in science realize that unless they get actually young minds with great ability to do things, science, in fact, career science future, in fact, in India will not be really great at all. So they started institutions called ICERs. And the person who was behind starting this ICER is none other than Bharataratna CNR Rao. I think many of you might have heard about CNR Rao. So he said he was working in one of the IITs before he joined IISc and became a director there. He was working in IITs and he had known what IITs had contributed in really bringing the technical education in India in terms of engineering, education, and so on and so forth. It really boosted the IITs. But similar institutions were missing in science. So he said, why don't we start on the same lines as IIT, Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research. He cleverly included education also in it because it's not just about research, it's also about education. Now, one thing which is generally missing in many of the universities at that time is they didn't have a great research background, but they were all training and they were all in education, science education. On the other hand, there were institutions like IISc where there's a strong research, but were not in the education of science. So he combined both education and research and then made into world-class institutions very, very similar to IITs. And now you all know that there is ICER Pune, ICER Calcutta, ICER Mohali, ICER Thiruvananthapuram, ICER Tirupati, and also ICER in Bhopal. So these ICERs basically didn't start all of them together. Initially, some 4 or 5 got started, And then later on, one start getting added up. And now you have these many number of ICERs available for us. Now, what kind of course do they offer? They offer a quality program in science education so that you can take up a career in research or also a career in teaching once you complete this course. Most of the ICERs have a 5 years BS MS program in pure science. Now, why do we call it as BS MS and not simply 5-year MS program? Is because there is an exit option after 4 years of BS. So if one feels that I have got opportunity to do research after my maybe 4 years of BS program itself, then one can stop there, continue with the PhD program that you have got, or if someone wants to complete 5 years of MS, you can still do that in pure science. So this really opened up the floodgates, I would say, for students to also pursue pure science in India. And once they started it, lot of takers started coming in. And especially with exams like KVPY, which had become popular, that became, in fact, also a gateway for getting into ICER. KVPY and ICER combined together really brought some wonderful students into pure science. At least I have known by now at least some 50, 60 students who have changed their mind in their second year or first year to pursue pure science. And they all, in fact, have been doing extremely well. Now, apart from these pure science BSMS program, I will come to the curriculum and other things as we go on. But all this restricted themselves to physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, environmental science, and so on and so forth. But of late, I'll tell you something interesting is happening in the education field. Pure science institutions are also getting into the mathematics and computation and also data science. So there is ICER Kolkata, which started, in fact, a 5 years BSMS program in computational data science only last year. And in fact, it's getting a lot of traction and people are getting into. So remember, students, pure science, you don't have to really restrict only to physics, chemistry, maths. The applications of those into the subjects, science and technology subjects where it will be useful is also dealt with this. Interestingly, this year, 4 years BS program in economic science has been started by ICER Bhopal, 2025, fresh program. This has been started only this year. Look, the science, in fact, is getting wider and wider, and more, in fact, subjects are getting into this. Now, also ICER Tirupati is starting a BS in economics and statistics. Not many would know statistics is one of the most important and fundamental subjects in science. Perhaps a lot of application of statistics is seen in physics, in in chemistry, in mathematics, and so on and so forth. And therefore, it's actually one of the important parts of science. And the applications of statistics in other than science. Maybe if someone from Dhanadhara or your academy is there, I think we need to stop this annotation. I think someone is using annotation, so if kindly someone can do
Yes,
that.
sir.
I'll also
I'll
try
look
and see
into
if I can do this.
Yeah, I'll look into that, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think I can also check once. Yes, I think I have done that now. So the statistics is also becoming, in fact, part of this. And students, there is actually an IIT program in IIT Madras, which takes students through the ICER aptitude test. I'll tell you what the test is. But IIT Madras is also recognizing the importance of science, and look at the beautiful programs they have. They have one program in chemical engineering, data science, and engineering, electrical engineering, and computer science. These are some of the wonderful courses, in fact, they're coming up. And for all this, they are basically admitting students through this science entrance test. So IITs are also realizing this particular part of it. So ICER Bhopal is also starting this 4 years BTech program in chemical engineering, data science, and engineering. Apart from that, even the institutions like IITs are opening up this particular program. So this is what the program that I was referring to. the BS Medical Science and Engineering program and also BS Chemistry program that in fact got started only this year. A BS Medical Science and Engineering program got started 2 years back. This is the third batch that are coming out. But the BS Chemistry program is started only this year. And how do they admit the students? They admit the students through the science entrance examination called ICER Aptitude Test, IAT. I would like to speak just few minutes about another interesting program that IAC has started almost 10, 11 years now, 11 years back, very successfully running. After KVPY got discontinued, the entrance exam for the BS program of IAC is also through the ICER aptitude test. Of course, they also take students through JEE Advanced now. Only JEE Advanced they are doing now. But otherwise, they have been, in fact, taking students through the ICER aptitude test. So now just to summarize, the ICER aptitude test is not just restricted to the physics, chemistry, mathematics of ICERs. It has got itself widened into taking math and computing, statistics. Look at this interesting course, IIC also program, and look at this interesting course on BS Medical Science and Engineering. This is a very interesting program. One might have thought there's only medicine, there's only engineering, or maybe pure science. When sir was mentioning, students basically are considering only do 2 or 3 of these options. But this kind of demarcation is all going away now. You don't have really any more boundary between saying this is medicine, this is engineering, this is pure science. They're all, in fact, combined together, and one will require another one. Doctors will require a lot of AI tools nowadays for diagnosis, understanding the test reports that they come, and also you have seen how much robotics has been used in the robotics has been used in the operation, surgery, and so on and so forth. So there is no proper distinction now between this is medicine and this is engineering. Engineers require a lot of medical inputs, and same way the other way around, the medical. Because where do the applications of engineering come? Majority comes in the field of medicine and biology. And therefore, they also need to know a lot of things. So IIT Madras was the first one to take up an initiative to start a program called BS Medical Science and Engineering. It has anatomy, physiology of organs. Look at the subjects, huh? Anatomy and physiology of organs, mathematical model of the organ systems. Superb. In fact, I happened to attend one of the conferences, which is actually on what is called as big data in biology, which showed us the extent of computation that is used in the modeling of several things that are involved in biology and medicine. Then the pathology of organ system and its interaction with other systems, diagnostics, measurement system, and treatment protocols. Such a wonderful program. And if I were a student, I would have definitely wanted to actually get into a program like this, especially this BS Medical Sciences and Engineering program. And how do they take the students? They are not, in fact, taking students to JEE Mains and Advanced. They are taking the students from the ICER aptitude test. I'll tell you why they are depending on IIT rather than JEE Advanced. Okay. So we have looked at the several several programs that you can actually get into if you can clear this ICER aptitude test. So the first question is, when will this exam be? Because there's so many examinations that happens during the month of March, April, and May. Difficult to keep the count, and also difficult to get a slot for examination nowadays. It's been completely cluttered with examinations. So they are very, very clear in this. We will do this examination only after you complete your JEE Mains, Advanced, and also many times the NEET examination. Let all that over. So we will do it calmly on the last Sunday of May. They will ensure that this doesn't actually coincide with any of the examination. they do it comfortably either in the last Sunday of May or the first Sunday of June. This is a computer-based test. Interestingly, there are only 60 questions in it, 15 questions each in physics, chemistry, maths, and biology. And here is the reason why the IIT Madras course, which is on medical science and engineering, is dependent on this examination, because you will be tested on all the 4 subjects of science: physics, chemistry, math, and biology. Okay, it's not necessary that you should take all the 4 subjects for the eligibility. You should have studied at least 3 of them. But when you write the examination, you have to write it for all 4 of them: physics, chemistry, maths, biology. So those who have taken biology with engineering will stand a good chance. Anyway, all the students who are preparing for the NEET examination, maths will be part of your curriculum anyway, right? Because you have to study for your board examination. So for them, it's going to be quite easy. So PCMB is what you need to do. What syllabus do they follow? Rationalized NCERT syllabus up to 24-25. Okay, I'm not too sure what happens 2 years after. But I think those who are in the present second year, you don't have to worry. For you also, the syllabus is going to be exactly the same. So I would therefore say that syllabus wise, you don't have to worry. Just follow the NCERT syllabus. Those who are in the first year, there's a likelihood that nothing really would change even now. But for these entrance examination, they may change and include certain topics which are not there in NCERT, like how the mains examination this year started including topics which are not really there in the rationalized NCERT. Even the NEET examination. That is because they declared the syllabus earlier to the examination and said, these are the topics we are going to include. Until the COVID was there, until COVID was a pandemic, everyone followed that. Moment that COVID thing lifted, so they also started going back to their initial standards. This year, you would have seen mains paper were very tough. NEET was actually super tough. Physics, I found that it has gone back to, in fact, 2019, 2018 standards now. Okay, where the toughness of the question, the level of the question has increased. And therefore, don't strictly go by this rationalized NCERT syllabus. Stick to your plan of preparing for the entrance examination. So this examination is more like, say, NEET or JEE mains in terms of the marks. So each correct question or correct answer will give you 4 marks, and wrong answer will give you -1 mark. So that negative marking is also there in this. And it's a total for 240 marks. As you can see, 60 questions, 4 marks each. So 240 marks is what you will be writing for. And the rank is decided purely by the marks that you obtain in this examination. There's no addition of board marks to this like your KCET. So this is also very much similar to your NEET and JEE mains. Look for the announcement of the registration around March first week. I know this is too early. We'll be also alerting you on, say, registration announcements when the examination seasons come. You don't have to worry. But look out for March first week is when the registration starts. Now the question that arises is, what are the eligibility criteria? Should all the 4 subjects be studied for writing this examination? No, you don't have to. At least 3 of the PCMB you should have studied in class 12 examination. If all 4 is there, perfectly all right. Okay, this is for all the ICERS courses that I told you, which involve physics, chemistry, maths, biology, and things like that. But there are certain subjects where math becomes compulsory. I think for Karnataka students, there is no issue at all. Maths has to be a part of their syllabus. So for those who are not taken maths in the outside from somewhere, maybe if you are a CBSE student or an ISC student or a student from some other state, for them, they can leave out mathematics at +2 level. But here you can't leave out mathematics at this level. So must have mathematics. So 5 years BS MS in computational data science requires mathematics. All right, for only these. For the ICERS, you don't have to worry about mathematics. For the courses that have been listed here, that is 5 years BS MS in computational data science, BTech programs, BSc in economic science, BS in economics and statistical sciences will require you to take maths as one of the subjects. Not really with without any logic, because all this will require a very strong say training in mathematics that one has to undergo, and that's why I think maths has been included, and rightly so. Is there any criteria on the marks that you score in the board? Yes, they want 60% of marks in the board examination. This, I think, is a requirement also for JEE mains and NEET, isn't it? You require 75%, but here they have been more generous. They have only kept 60% of marks in board examination. And if there is actually a student from category, SC, ST especially, then you just have to score around 55 marks as a criteria. This will not be counted for the rank that they are going to declare. Rank is declared purely on the performance in the ICER aptitude test. Okay. Now, having said all this, I should tell you about the scenario which is so important in the Indian context. Any exam you conduct, any course that you offer, there's a large demand from the students at this age. This also has very similarly large number of students writing the examination. 71,000 students write the examination. Now you may say, what, sir? Not even a lakh. Our JEE mains examination has around 9 lakh students writing the exam. This year, 11 lakhs. I mean, if you take the NEET examination, 26, 27 lakh students write the examination. If you look at KCET, around 2.5 lakh students write the examination. And what is this 71,000? But 71,000 students write for how many number of seats? For only 2,363 seats that are available in different ICES and different programs. Students, this has improved from last 3-4 years. 3 years back, I had a count, which is only something like 1,120 seats were available. Now, everyone has increased the number of seats because the demand is increasing. And they're also expanding. Most of the ICES have their own premises now. Earlier, they were all in some other institutions running their courses. But now all of them have their permanent buildings, good infrastructure, and therefore they've started taking numbers, good numbers. See, Behrampur take 300, Bhopal, Calcutta, close to 300. And also this ICER Tirupati is 350 students. Thiruvananthapuram is 320, close to 300, most of them. The new courses that I told you also are adding to this. Bhopal, look at it. BTech itself is for 140 seats. BS Economics is 35 and ICER Tirupati is 50. I also want to tell you that IASC actually has a big number of students coming from ICER aptitude test. The number of students writing this exam, I mean, who will get the seat will be 138. Out of this, there are some 22 supernumerary seats for female. There is a reservation for girls here, and 5 foreign national students with OCI cards and all that. Of course, their fees will be a little higher, but they do have some seats for them. But interestingly, girls, in fact, are given some reservation in their admission. 22 seats are reserved for them. Okay, so that's actually a good number, I would say, number of seats that you have. I think similarly, I should also go and check even in ICER, there may be some seats reserved for girls. BS Medical Science and Engineering, that is newly started 2 years back, that's 36 students. BS Chemistry program is 34 students. So they're also taking around 70 students now through this particular channel. So what is the percentage of success that one can have in this examination is roughly around 3.6%. I think this is a little more than many of the other exams, like JEE mains, if you look at the number of seats and the number of students who write, or for that matter, medical seats and the NEET aspirants. This number seems to be quite okay, competition-wise also. And also, 71,000 students write the examination, but the serious ones, maybe around 20,000 is what my feeling is. And therefore, if someone is interested in really getting into this, you should really take up this seriously and start preparing yourself for this examination. What is the syllabus that they follow once you join the ICERs, or for that matter, IAC? They have a very interesting way of looking at science. They feel someone who wants to do research in science should do equal amount of physics, chemistry, maths, biology, at least up to the third semester. The third semester, up to 3 semesters, if you look at their syllabus, it's almost like our earlier BSc course. 3 years of BSc course has been done in 3 semesters. Each semester is generally around 4 or 5 months. So they're covering a lot of content in the first 3 semesters, and to make sure that the student has a proper grounding in all the core subjects of the science, physics, chemistry, maths, biology. Then they allow you to do major. You can do major in one of these subjects, physics, chemistry, maths, biology. Apart from that, there'll be environmental science, there'll be material science, where it will now require all the subjects that you have studied until then to be applied. If you want to do major in physics, you will now be trained up to almost the MSc level by the time you complete your 4 years BS. 5 years, fifth year will be usually the project independent work that the student have to do. So there's lot of, say, science training that happens, and also research orientation that takes place. Many students, when they're completing their third semester or fourth semester, will start applying for the internships. And many of the internships are done in countries like Germany, US, Australia is becoming a very favorite place for many of these students. Uh, Internship will sort of orient them towards the subject that they like. Okay, many of them also do their PhD under the same person with whom they have done the internship. They will already offer, say, looking at the quality of the students. So this whole science education, because of ICERS and IAC, has given the right ecosystem, okay, for doing quality, say, education in science. Once you come out of this MS program, you generally go and do a PhD program there. After the PhD program, the world is the place where you can go and get absorbed. A lot of foreign universities are looking forward to students of this caliber. And I can say with a lot of pride, and also my own students of the BS program, that when I was in IAC, are today completing their PhD and joining, in fact, extremely good institutions. It can be Carnegie Mellon, it can be say Stanford University, MIT, then John Hopkins. One of my student, in fact, who also is a Rhodes Scholar, will be in fact serving Oxford. Okay, I think if there is actually someone, a very old person and into academics in your house, go and find out. Everyone's dream in academics some 60, 70 years was to do something in Oxford. So these students are now getting into Oxford as faculty members and joining. Of course, many of them also are coming back to India, joining universities, central universities, ICERS, IASC, and also TIFR, many such institutions. So there's a lot of scope also once you complete this program. Now, if I tell you about all this and stop, I think I will not be doing complete justice, uh, because you should have a feel for what kind of questions they ask in ICER aptitude test. I would say they're all MCQs, no doubt, but definitely different from the kind of questions that are asked in NEET examination and JEE mains examination. More and more, these examinations, especially NEET and JEE mains, are becoming testing the students on their numerical abilities. Can I get a solution and also substitute the values and get a number at the end of it? Apart from 5 numericals in physics, you also have a lot of questions where the numbers finally matters in choosing your options. But ICER aptitude tests, in fact, are little different in this particular aspect. They're more trying to understand your conceptual, say, clarity in the subject. The way they ask the question would basically test your understanding in the concepts, rather than just generating some numerical values at the end of it. So therefore, I find this examination more interesting and more challenging in this regard. And also the number of questions that you have to answer in each of them, each subject is only 15. Okay, if you look, only 60 questions are there, 180 minutes. And in that, generally, biology doesn't take that much time, isn't it? As you all have seen. And that time has to be carried to mathematics and physics. So physics questions generally are more challenging and would require more time to do it. So I thought I will sort of expose you all to some questions that has come in this year's ISER aptitude test. Lot of questions are conceptual. I think those who are in the second year at least would understand what collision mean. You would have done many problems on the concept of collision by now, especially students who are in the second year. Of course, those who have joined the first year now, these concepts of collision and other things would actually happen. Maybe sometime in the month of October, November, these topics will be taken up. But nonetheless, I will try to give a glimpse of or a sense of what kind of questions come. Consider an elastic collision between two particles, A and B, of same mass. Mass moving in the same direction. Particle is moving at a speed VA and particle B is moving at speed VB. In the figure shown, the solid lines represent the motion before the collision and the dotted lines represent the motion after collision. Which of the following describes the motion of these two particles? Super. Both are given and we are supposed to actually find out the position time graph and the velocity time graph for us. I love this question for many things, students. Generally, what we do is when we are teaching about, say, the graphs, especially in one-dimensional motion, we don't really connect to other topics. When we are teaching collision, we don't really connect back and say, this is how a VT graph would look like for a collision. And now here is a beautiful combination of these two ideas coming together and asking nothing to calculate, but to think and answer. If you all want to actually try it out, I don't mind, in fact, spending maybe another 30 seconds. Think about it and see if you can get an answer. And you can actually type it in the chat box if you like. Okay, I would love to look at the chat box and see if someone wants to try and answer this particular question. Very interesting. Hope you all can see the screen clearly. Okay. Hope nothing is really obstructing you to read, but I have already read the question. Okay. Wonderful question, I would say. Is anyone who would like to try answering this question? Very interesting. Okay. A is coming and hitting B. And you know what happens after collision? Yeah. That is something to really think about and answer. And which of these graphs basically represent that? Anyone answering the chat? Are you able to access the chat? Is that been allowed or they can't use the chat at all?
I think they're allowed, so they can
They're
chat.
allowed. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Or if anyone wants to answer, yes, there is one answer. Great, Ruchira. So you say it's A. Let's think. Let's see if this is all right. Yeah. One more says A. Regan also says A. Okay. Nidhishri, oh, there's someone who's saying C. Nidhishri is saying A. Vivek is saying A. Good. I have some answers. I'm happy about it. Some of you are saying C. So there seems to be a slightly tug of war between A and C. Okay. Let's figure out which one in fact is right. One thing they have done in all of them, basically, if you look at their XT graphs, they look very similar, isn't it? Is there any difference in the XT graph? You don't have much of a difference. It's all there in the VT graph, the differences. You all know that whenever the two masses in fact are same and whenever there is a collision, the velocities interchange between the particle. A will get the B's velocity, B will get the A's velocity. So therefore, you can see that A should have been having a higher velocity than B because A has to come and hit B. Otherwise, there is no collision at all. So if B moves faster than A, so this never is going to catch up and hit this. So hence, A's velocity should be greater than B velocity. That you can see from the slope of xt graphs. Okay. Then what happens after collision is B should get the A's velocity, and therefore the dotted line in the VT graph, look at it, A and B should interchange. So B is become A will become B, and therefore the answer A is correct. C, let me check whether there is a little confusion here. Okay, the confusion is the following in C. It appears to be almost same, but look here, velocity of A is greater than B, and therefore A line in the VT graph should be above the B line. Therefore, see that conceptual mistake is there. So A in fact doesn't have any such ambiguity. So A's velocity is initially higher and there's an exchange with B after that. So I have not seen these kinds of questions many times in mains examination. Mains mostly restrict itself to calculation, getting a expression and things like that. And ICER also does that. So I just gave one example on the conceptual part of it. There is also large number of questions on the applications of it. And here also look students, application is you'll have to work out, get an expression and then choose an answer. It is not that I'm going to remember the formula and write it like many times it happens in NEET examination. So you have to really know the idea, use the relevant equations, get the answer and look at the options here like this. Yeah, very nice question again. One question I'll not do all the questions here. A block of mass m lies at rest connected to a massless spring of spring constant k on a frictionless table. Whenever they make it frictionless table, then your work is little lesser. Your concerns also is lesser. A bullet of mass m hits the block horizontally with a speed v as shown in the figure and is completely stuck into the block. What is the maximum compression in the spring resulting from this impact? So you have to find out what is the maximum compression that in the spring. You know that maximum compression occurs when these two, m and m, okay, velocity of that should become 0. So that idea is there. You can't really simply work out this problem without knowing for maximum compression, they both in fact has to become momentary velocity should become momentarily 0. Then this comes and embeds here. So there is a collision problem again. There is this plastic collision. Okay. There it was perfect elastic collision. Here it's going to be plastic collision. And then you should find out what the new velocity is. And from there, you have to find out the energy equations. From the energy equations, you have to find out what is the compression. Very nice, neat question. That they're trying to see whether you can apply the same formulas, conservation of momentum, energies at different physical situations. Okay, so I thought I'll just give one example where the type of question is a little different. I also thought one question I should give you where they're trying to see how well you can evaluate a given situation. I also like this question a lot. A cart of mass m is released from A. The highest point of a frictionless track as shown in the figure. The cart travels along the track and enters a semicircular arc dbc of radius r. The heights of the point A and B are h1 and h2. Can you see that? From the ground respectively. Which of the following quantities does not play any role in ensuring that the cart does not leave the track? See, one thing is to ask what should be the velocity at the lowermost point to complete the circle. Now, another way would be to find out what parameters on which this particular thing will depend on. And that requires a little more thinking. Otherwise, it's all nowadays, you have this answer as root 5gr. You know the answer, you mark it. I could have asked the same idea with that thing in mind. But here they're not looking at that. Do you know what decides the velocity of the particle when it comes to that particular point? And what parameters are they? So it should depend on R. It should depend on H1. So H1. Does it depend on mass of the particle? No, it doesn't depend on the quantity mass at all in this case, because we have seen that for the continuation it can be any mass, especially when there is no friction coming in the roll at all. Then there is no point in fact taking mass into consideration at all. So there's no mass dependency on this. Otherwise, it should depend on all H1, H2, and R. So they're trying to see if you can evaluate the situation and decide what parameters in fact are going to be there. I can go on like this for a lot of these questions, but I would urge that you all go and have a look at the 2025 ICER aptitude paper. It's available on the net. Their own website you can go and download and start in fact looking at these questions and enjoy these questions. They have that freshness. They're not like regular question that you see in our material and things like that. So very interesting. But with whatever we are teaching, I feel I'm confident that you can still answer these questions. Okay, so some sample questions I thought I should share with you. And I also did an analysis of last 7-8 years of ICER aptitude papers. There's a very good coverage over the topics. There are 15 questions that they have to ask from around 25, 26 topics in each subject, isn't it? So not that every chapter will be represented, but they ensure that there's a good coverage of these ideas. Okay, if there are 1 or 2 questions from say mechanics, there'll be questions from optics, there'll be questions from electricity magnetism, there'll be questions from thermal physics, and so on and so forth. Extremely good coverage. So they don't miss out any topics in these. We can't therefore say only study this topic, only study that topic. Science can never be done. If you say I'll only do mechanics, I will somehow manage. That can't be done in science, and therefore their examination also, they ensure that all these are properly covered. About 7 questions I see is from first year, around 8 questions from second year, 2025. I was just going through. It's almost the same kind of an average. Sometimes 8 questions from first year, 7 questions from second year. So they make it up in this way. So equal weightage for first year and second year. Those who are in the first year, remember most of the national level examination will have equal weightage for first year portions. Whatever is done on the first day of your college, of your tuition, will be useful for the examination that you're going to take up 2 years that comes after this. So don't neglect at all. First year is as important as second year. In fact, even more important than second year. If there's a proper base, proper foundation in the first year, second year will be far more easier for all of you. If you know the techniques and the tricks of doing problems in the first year, if you master it, second year pressure will be lower. Okay, not just for the coverage of syllabus, also taking into account your own preparation strategies. Mostly application-based questions, as you have seen, and conceptual questions. Okay, extremely good conceptual and this. Very few numerical, that is what is my experience. Not really much problems come where you have a numbers that you have to churn out at the end of this question. So relatively different kind of question and nice questions, and you will enjoy, in fact, after doing every question, there's some amount of learning that actually happens. That's how the questions should be. Before I end this session, I want to also tell you, apart from the ICER aptitude test, what other options you have in pursuing pure science. Very similar to ICERs, there's another institution called NICER, National Institute of Science Education Research. Sounds very similar. So instead of Indian, there is national. ICERs are all started by Department of Science and Technology with the help of MHRD, Ministry for Education. But whereas these NICERs are institutions run by Department of Atomic Energy. So they are running 2 institutions for pure science. One is NICER, the other one is Center for Basic Sciences. That is actually in Mumbai. So this NICER is in Bhopal. The CBS is actually in Mumbai. They are running in University of Mumbai. But both these are run by the professors from TFR, Homi Baba Center for Science Education, I would say is no less than any of these ICERs. Excellent education you get in science if you want to pursue. They also combined together have around something like 300, 350 seats to offer. They have another examination called NEST, NEST, National Entrance Cum Selection Test. So this also is very similar to ICER aptitude test in its format. 4 subjects, 15 questions each. Question type also very similar. In physics, at least I've seen. Little more challenging sometimes because they are more into making you derive an expression and write down the options. They're all MCQ based only, is something that you can consider. One more examination that all of you should really seriously look at if you are interested in pure science is the CUET test, Central University Entrance Test. This number of students who are taking this examination is increasing. This will be entrance exam for getting into all the central universities that Government of India runs. There are 35 to 40 central universities run by Government of India, starting from JNU, and JNU in fact has very good School of Physics, School of Biological Sciences, School of Chemical Sciences. In fact, it's all there for wrong reasons, but wonderful departments, faculties are there in JNU. There is one central university in Karnataka also in Gulbarga. Hyderabad Central University is very old, one of the oldest central universities that we have. They all take students. They also have an integrated program which will take you up to MSc, BSc, MSc they call, and also scope for PhD. Very good scientists have come through this program as well. So the number of therefore examination that you can write in pure science is ICER aptitude test, NEST, and CUET. Okay, that's CUET is also getting a lot of traction now. Because it opens up opportunities for you to pursue in almost all the central universities, not just restricted to universities in Karnataka, but everything. Yeah, all universities in India. Okay, there are a lot of transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary programs also that they offer. They offer BTech programs also several central universities, but they all have wonderful, wonderful programs in pure science, and that they have been doing from past 40, 50 years with lot of success. Before ICERs came, the central universities were the ones which good students would get in and then complete their BSc, MSc programs. Okay, so I think with this, I have communicated whatever I wanted to tell you all. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take it. Either you can write it in chat, or if it is okay, you can also unmute and then ask the questions.
Yes, sir. I think participants, you can also send in your question through chat, or if anyone would like to ask the question, you can use the raise hand option so that I can unmute you. I think, sir, some questions are coming through chat. There is Surabhi.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
8 new messages I have to see. Yeah. Yes, I think I was telling you that Surabhi, NICER and CBS actually have an examination called NEST, NEST, and that test is actually scheduled for tomorrow this year. NEST test. That also happens after all this examination. I told you, the slots are not available now for exams to be conducted in the month of April, May. So they all have come to June, but they all give the results very quickly and complete their admission process by July. Yeah.
Yes, students, any other questions? If you have, you can chat. You can send it in the chat, or you can
Yeah. I
use the
think
raise
there's
hand
a
option.
question from Arijit. How different is the pattern of examination of IAT and NEST? Very similar, very similar. 4 subjects, equal importance, equal weightage, 15 questions per subject, and also duration is 180 minutes. The level of questions, very similar. They are more into application and conceptual questions and evaluation. So higher order learning skills only they are test. Nothing like recall questions. All those, in fact, are not there because they only have 15 questions to ask, and therefore they need to be very careful in doing it. Very nice question. Very nice question. Okay. Someone has asked a question about what is your opinion on some of the private universities that are offering science courses? For example, Azim Premji. Extremely good. Is this a parent or a student? Abhiram Sriram? Yes. Especially Azim Premji University is doing wonderful program in pure science. That's in Bangalore. So that's a big advantage for students who want to pursue. They have two kinds of programs. One is do a pure BSc program and also a 4 years BSc Ed program. So where you have BSc plus B.Ed both put together as an integrated program. Both the programs are extremely good. I can immediately name one more university which is also doing extremely good in pure science, for that matter, is Ashoka University. Okay, not in Bangalore, but nonetheless, but very good. Azim Premji, I know some of the people who are involved in teaching there also. The dean of their physical sciences is Dr. Jayanta. I know him personally, extraordinary researcher and a great teacher, a wonderful scholar. He is taking care of this program, and very, very good students are joining. Two of my students joined last year, though they are doing actually a course in mathematics, BSc majoring in mathematics, but they have given wonderful, feedback about this. They also have an entrance examination, not as tough as the IIT, but they do have an entrance examination, and the selection of the students is done based on that. So I think if someone is considering pure science and Azim Premji, definitely do it, and also see if you can take up the B.Ed, BSc Ed, because pure science will require teaching to a large extent. Later on, you can do some kind of maybe master degree in education also, or do a pure science MSc. So therefore, both in fact are possible in this program. Before I take the next question, I would like to also add this at this moment. In fact, I should have really put it in my slide itself. I was too much focusing on IIT. How many of you know that there is an entrance examination for joining the 4 years BSc education, BSc Ed, BA Ed programs in India? And these courses are in fact started in IITs and NITs. Many NITs have started BSc Ed program. Even IISc is considering to start a BSc Ed program. In fact, their syllabus program, everything is ready, but somehow they're delaying it. Okay. This is another area that all of you should consider for tomorrow's job opportunities. The job profile, the job opportunities, and the nature of jobs are all changing rapidly, students. In next 4 or 5 years, we will require a lot of good teachers to teach at high school and at +2 level and BSc. So therefore, Government of India has started a 4 years BSc Ed program, and there is an entrance exam for that. And that entrance exam, I think, is scheduled for next week or so. Okay. One more entrance examination for getting into. But of course, that will require a little amount of more things than what you are doing, physics, chemistry, maths, biology. Will also require some general aptitude test, current affairs, and things like that. Because to be a teacher, you need to be well-rounded. And therefore, they actually ask questions also on that. So when we were in the topic of Azim Premji, I thought I should also add about this BSc Ed program. Okay. Is it possible for PCM students to appear in IIT? If yes, what are we supposed to do for the bio questions in the examination? Yes, this is actually a nice question again. Biology questions are usually quick to answer and also easier to get marks. But if you don't have that biology, you will have to compensate with a good performance in PCM. Now itself, if you start preparing for some amount of biology, biology for NCERT book is good enough for this, not really more than that. So NCERT biology, if you do, you should be able to at least get something like 5 questions, 6 questions, which will be a bonus. Okay. I had a student by name Sushruta 3 years back. He didn't take biology in this. Not only that, he didn't like biology itself. But still his maths was very, very strong, and therefore he was able to compensate and got a rank of 63 in this ICER aptitude test. He is now in ICER Pune, enjoying his program. He's teaching mathematics to everyone there. So therefore it's possible, Regan, but only thing is you will have to compensate for that biology with your physics, chemistry, maths. Even better, now itself you start looking at biology, see what is there in NCERT, not really difficult to go through. And if you need some help, we'll be happy to actually extend that help for doing a short course in biology. We can ask sir to reach out to students and then do a short course in biology if you are very keen in getting into this ICER, any of these ICERs. Okay, please do contact us about this. Either you can talk to Sandeep sir or talk to me or Sudha ma'am. Someone will be able to help you out in this. Yeah. Okay, I think there are a couple of more questions. Let me take it from here. For IISc admission, is all 138 seats allotted via IIT or is distributed JII? Yes, mostly IIT. I think, as I know, 70% of the seats basically come from IIT. So roughly around 70 to 80 seats, you can say, is earmarked for getting through IIT. Remaining comes from JEE Advanced. This year they have changed this rule. Last year they had JEE Mains, NEET, all national level examination, but now they have made as JEE Advanced and IIT. So more number of seats are now reserved for IIT. Okay, so definitely more number of seats there. How can we incorporate different methods of preparation for this examination while mainly focusing on exam like NEET? Yes, I would say these questions are different, but the idea, the concept are all the same. So if someone is preparing very well for the NEET examination, I would say your approach should not be to get the final number in the answer. Somehow get that number and answer, but rather go through the method of solving it. So that will prepare you well for NEET, obviously. That will also prepare you for examination like ICER aptitude and say NEST and so on and so forth. And also your own conceptual strength in the subject will improve if you take up this method. So need a little more push, a little more extra thing to go through the procedure, not just all the time look at the formula, plug in the values and get it, but rather also concentrate on how did I get this relation? What is the way to derive it? Is there any variations in the derivation if I change this? We generally do that in physics to a large extent, but I think similarly one has to also do it in other subjects. Okay, so a little tweaking should help you to also prepare for this examination. Okay, I think there's one more question. Sir, there are any exams for D Pharma, B Pharmacy, or if we could write any entrance examination of BSc, leaving CET and NEET examination. D Pharma, B Pharma, they come under the Karnataka CET. So all the seats are filled up through that. Apart from the engineering and engineering ranks, they also give ranks for these pharmacy courses, plus agriculture. So KCET basically takes care of all this. As far as I know, some of the central universities where pharmacy is there, they do take students using the CUET marks. So I think I have to check and get you back on this. Should we write any entrance examination for BSc? If you want to actually join BSc in MES College, Vijaya College, or many of the other colleges, they take students based on their pre-university marks, the board marks. They will not really depend on entrance examination. As I know, our universities at least don't have this. But there is a grand plan of Government of India to bring all universities under UGC come under the CUET. And there will be some state ranks also given. So based on that, you can join in your different states. But you should not take any students without an entrance examination is an idea that everyone is mulling. If they do that, then there will be entrance exam. Otherwise, right now, there is no examination for joining BSc programs in local colleges. But for central university, there's an entrance exam. For all the BS courses, there is an entrance examination. Okay, kindly share links to websites to practice for these examination. ICER, if you type ICER in the Google, you'll be taken to the ICER websites. They all have the previous year's papers already in them, and there are also some sample papers they release every year. Okay, so you can do it, but I can also share it in the group later on. This is just the ICER websites that are good enough. BTech in IISc, can we get the seat only through JES? BTech Math and Computing is only through JE Advanced. Therefore, I didn't include that Math and Computing of IISc in this part. Okay, but happy news is that there is also a very similar program in Calcutta now, where they have Math and Computing that is starting this year. Math and Computing. For that, you can actually go through IIT. I'm sure it's going to be equally good. So I think you should think of that as well. The courses, in fact, offered in environmental engineering is very different from the environmental science of BSc program. It is more nurtured in trying to understand the concepts in the designing and things like that at the environmental science level, and rather than actually getting into how do I bring in a systemic change and things like that. So their course is very different, and here it's only a major. It's not like there is a engineering course itself in VIT. Here, the environmental science is taken as a major subject after doing 3 years of physics, chemistry, mathematics. Okay, and therefore the orientation is more towards doing research in environmental science. Okay, I think I have answered most of the questions, I suppose, in the chat. If there are any questions that I left out, kindly let me know.
Sir, I think there is one question from a student. I think many students have that question. Is there any difference in rank for those students who attempt only PCM and those students who attempt all the 4?
No, there is no difference. It's all total marks. Yeah. If you're leaving out
That's why biology becomes
it's basically at that cost. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I think that's. These are the questions that have been posted so far. Yes, sir. So I think we can end the session. MKR sir, I can't thank you enough for making this possible. I think students of both institutes have benefited from this. And after this, if students who are erstwhile thinking about engineering or medicine, if they change their mind towards this, so it will be something very great. So thank you very much, sir, once again. And dear students, hope you have benefited from this session. And any further questions you have, you can send it to us. We in turn will pass it on to MKR sir and send the answers back to you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all the participants for attending.
Thanks for the opportunity, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.